Hello and welcome back to Stan's Cutlery Universe. And today, that Buck 110 I picked up last week, beautiful vintage Buck 110 with the sheath here. You can tell it's been in this sheath for a long time. It's time to start cleaning her up and making her look good again, bringing her back. So I think first we'll start with the sheath. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some saddle soap, clean her up, probably put some conditioner on her. I'll see how she is after saddle soap. She is pretty supple, because I want to use some shoe polish to bring her back, where she's scuffed out and stuff. But let's start with the saddle soap. I got a little thing of water here. Going to put on some gloves. It's not that this is nasty, but the biggest thing is I don't know where this has been. I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's been well cared for, but it could have been in some nasty crap, could have been in blood and stuff. And I unfortunately do have some cuts on my fingers. Just a good old saddle soap. You can use any brand that you like. I think this I just got because it was available. I'm just using cheap towel or old, not cheap, but old towels that are no longer like quality you want in your bathroom. I can see through it, but it works good for this. Now, what I usually do is I usually do this at the sink, so I have the running water, but I just dollop it in some water, get the soap lathered up good, so you got some soap on here. And I just go to town. Yeah, I just go to town, just getting her a good lather everywhere. And I even use it on the inside here because, like, there's some people say you shouldn't use saddle soap on non-treated, but I don't understand why. I've never had a problem with it. Maybe some people have, and I'm not going to say they're wrong. It's never been a problem for me, or maybe it has been, and I'm not smart enough to know it. Which, any of you that watch my channel long enough probably going, yeah, we could understand that, Stan. The not being smart enough to know it. So, yeah, I'm very self deprecating or whatever the heck you call it, where you cut yourself down. Just kind of found it when I was younger is it's easier to be that way. Then I didn't give anybody a chance to do it. Bad habit to get into. Any of you young people that are watching, if there are any young people or even older people, don't cut yourself down. It's not worth it. You know, the people that want to cut you down and will cut you down, they're not your friends, real friends, anyways. They're just there trying to mooch off you or just make themselves feel better about their insignificance because they can pick on you about something. So yeah, now I like to move away from where it's wet on there, and I will just start wiping it down a little bit. I mean, I like to leave it damp once I get it wiped down. I won't try to dry it off. That's not what this part is. This part is just, man, I'm amazed at how clean this sheath really was. I'm not getting a lot off it. That's awesome. Just tells me this knife was loved, and used, not abused, which I kind of could tell already from the blade on it. But man, this is just cleaning up way better than I thought it would. I don't know if you can hear the house phone in the background. That's okay. I apologize. I should have muted it. But oh, sorry, I'm holding it up by me. I get used to get talking. I'm not paying attention. But yeah, just she's coming out beautifully. I mean, with some shoe polish on here in a little bit. Oh my goodness. Check that beauty out. She turned out wow. Wow. Wowzer McGowzers. I am not going to lie to you. I didn't think that was going to turn out that nice. That has turned out beautifully. I wish I could figure out a way to turn this buck. And I know that a lot of them have the buck emblem kitty wampus, but I just want it to be straight with the buck up here. But look at this thing. Look how supple she is. Yeah, somebody loved this. Somebody loved this knife and sheath. And oops, I forgot to get inside the. So I put some cleaner inside too. Just trying to get out any of the corrosion. That's why I cleaned in here, is because you could see where the knife had set up, and it was perfect on the lines. And I didn't want to put a nice clean knife into a sheath like that. But this knife will be wrapped before it is put back in here. But man, I am color me impressed. This is nothing the saddle soap did. I mean, the saddle soap did clean her up, make her a little cleaner, but that sheath, somebody loved this knife. Whoever the prior owner was, I know they're probably past because this was an estate sale thing, uh, you know. Um, but thank you for loving this knife. That is that's cool. Well, I'm going to bring the sheath back, make her look a little bit better. Get my old shoe shine kit out here. Had this kit, I believe this is the actual kit I had in the Marine Corps. I could be wrong because I honestly don't remember. Going to get out my goods here that I need. And I want this sheath to look just popping. So I get out my Kiwi Parade gloss. Now, a little thing you can do with these, and I had to do it with this. It's why it looks the way it does. It sets too long, it breaks up and it gets chunky. You might not want to set it directly on your burner like I do. I just got the regular burners, our electric, whatever you want to call them, burners. And you just heat it up nicely, let it melt, and then shut it off and just let it solidify, and it comes right back instead of being chunky. The problem when it's chunky is it's really hard to get, without it going around. Get the brush lathered up here. Oh yeah, let's get working on this sheath. Get a good amount on her because believe it or not, the shoe wax also preserves the leather. It does have a preservative. I don't want to dye where it's wore because this shoe wax will, being it's black, will dye it some. And then I'm very happy about that because I want this to look, I don't want it to look brand new. That is one thing I don't want it to do. I don't want it to look brand new because it has been used. It has been loved, I want people to look at it and go, man, look how well, what would you call it? Manicured or what does a museum do? I can't think what they call a museum when they get the stuff in and they bring it back to looking. You know what I'm saying? Oh, what is that called? Oh, of course I got to have a total brain fart. Wouldn't be a stand video without a brain fartage issue going on. Yep, my brain's up there just going. Sorry. Y'all go and stand. We know what a fart sounds like. But most of us are guys, and that is funny. So yeah, I just I want the sheath to look good. What is it that museums do? I can't think what they call it now when they bring something back to it's not brand new or anything, but it's not called restore. Oh man, they do it a lot of times in like stuff they get back from shipwrecks and stuff. And I am so sorry. This is going to drive me nuts. This is going to drive me nuts. I want to say procure, but I know that's not it. Man, this is going to look so beautiful. Now, some people will say I went to the polish too soon, and I might agree. But this leather didn't really take in a ton of the saddle soap or anything. That saddle soap was just used for a cleaning and a little conditioning. Once I get this polished, I'll probably let it set for a day or two, and I'll use some of my leather conditioner, my homemade leather conditioner on her to really get her, I like to try and shine and do stuff with when I'm using polish with a little bit of water, hence why I left the bowl of water here, because I found in the Marine Corps, you can really get, there's a reason the old shoe shines were called a spit shine, because that little bit of spit, that little bit of water, man, you could just make them pop like a diamond in a goat's behind. And during inspection or for parades, you better have your boots and everything looking properly, or you're getting it's going into your you're going to go stand in front of the first sergeant. So yeah. So I'll put that over there on the lid. That's what it looks like right now before a little buffing. It's probably going to need a couple treatments, but that's okay. Doesn't hurt my feelings. This is going to be easy to buff because it's all right there. It's not like a shoe where you got a bigger area. This is like you can get so many areas with one boofing. One boofing. I must boof the sheath. I know. I'm a dork, but that's okay. That's what you guys come here to watch, is some dork sit here and talk about knives and show how much he loves all cutlery and loves to, especially when he gets a chance, something like this, because I've been buying so much newer stuff. I don't get a chance to bring something back to life, because this is for me, this just makes me happy. I just like, this is makes me feel like I've accomplished something, because I'm bringing something back to life, to serviceability. I mean, this knife was always serviceable. Don't get me wrong, because it's not a bad knife by any means. It's just, it needed some TLC, and hence why I got it for a good deal. At least I think it's a good deal. It was in the low 50s. I checked the thing. And some people might be like, well, Stan, you could buy a brand new one for a few dollars more. Yep, I could. But it wouldn't be this cool 74 to 86. Or 82 it might be. But there's the sheath. I should probably put another layer on it. But like I said, I want to leave some of it where it's still, you can see that it is not brand new, because it has been used, and I don't want to bring it back to absolute perfect. I want it to show that it's been used, it's been loved, it's been, for lack of better terms, it's been through the war. It's that might sound stupid, but get a little bit of water on here and that'll really bring her up. I want it to show that it's lived a life. And I know knives are inanimate objects, but it has gone through, and it's served its owners over its lifetime, which I'm going to bet was one owner, until this person that I bought it from, because they admit, say they do estate stuff and stuff. I'm going to bet that this had one owner that just used the knife, probably carried it every day till I'm assuming because usually in this era, not a lot of women carried a buck 110, in the late 70s, early 80s. But he probably cherished this knife. This might have been maybe not a lifetime goal to get, but just a knife that made his day, that made him feel special, that let him know that he had a wonderful knife. Because I tell you, this is a wonderful knife and a wonderful sheath. Okay, I'm going to clean my mess up a little bit, and then I am going to, yeah, I've had that since Camp Lejeune. See the thing? MCX Lejeune. Marine Corps Exchange Lejeune. Wow. I haven't polished many boots since then. Oh, Lord, I'm a slacker. Somebody call the drill instructors, tell them I slacked off once I got out of the Marine Corps. Tell him Stan's a slacker. He slacked off once he got out. That lazy son of a. Okay, now onto this beautiful knife. I was looking this over very closely. Does have a little bit of gunk down in the channels. I don't know if I can show that real. Oh, I can a little bit. Not real bad, but down in here. So I am not 100% sure if I'm just going to clean it up and then just blow it out with some air, or put maybe some something in there, water, hot soapy water or something. Or if I'm going to clean it up, throw it in my ultrasonic for like 5-10 minutes just to get the crap, a little bit last crap out of there, and then throw it into a bath, you know, into a mineral oil bath. If I do that, though, I will definitely let you know. Okay, on to the next step here, cleaning this up. This is Blue Magic Metal Polish Cream. Excuse me, I'm getting a dry mouth. I apologize. Got to take a drink. My good friend Mangus, Wicked Blades, turned me on to this. He picks it up in a different form, in tube. This is what I was able to find. I found this on Amazon. This stuff works great. I like it to some extent better than Flitz, but I still like my Flitz. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong on that. Again, just a nice towel. Nothing special about it. Just an old, was a good bath towel at one time. It's served its purpose. But let's get started on this. And I only do one side at a time so I can work and just, sit here and just enjoy it and talk. And or if I'm watching TV while I'm doing this. Sorry, I'm shaking the whole table. This stuff is just phenomenal, though. Flitz probably would have gotten to this, no problem. But I have just found that this stuff is just, look at that. Mangus, thank you for turning me on to this stuff, brother. It's funny because this is actually stuff I used to use for like my wheels and stuff back in the day when I was in the Marine Corps, young man trying to impress the ladies with his ride, and I remember this stuff when you mentioned it, and I'm like, man, that was some good stuff, so I decided, I'd look for some, and I picked it up. And the best price I could find for quantity on Amazon was doing the tubs. They did have the big tubes like Mangus was finding. He said he found his, I want to say, at an AutoZone, and they really hooked him up like a really good price. He got like a massive tube for not much money. But look how quickly that cleaned that up. I mean, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the underside bolster here, or underside here. We'll get into that. Then we'll go to the other side. Doesn't even take much. I did this on a knife that was really nasty, and it didn't take very much. You could see what was, and it really didn't take that much rubbing. And I think that's what I like. Flitz is good stuff. Do not get me wrong. I love Flitz. I am a Flitz fanboy. But I think the rubbing compound part of the Flitz is not as aggressive as this. And when I say aggressive, I don't mean like it's going to hurt your knife, but I mean this might be like a 2,000 grit where the Flitz is like a 3,000. That's what I mean. It's not going to hurt your knife. It's just this is going to cut through the heavier stuff a little faster, and it still leaves a magnificent shine that is just wonderful, and you will never tell the difference between Flitz because you get to a certain level of the grind and it doesn't matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't matter anymore. You can make it a little smoother, a little shinier, but it's not gonna make or break the deal. Okay, got a little spot right there. Got it. Okay. Let's move on to these bolsters. Look at that difference. Bang. And I mean, this is not done yet, but bang to bang. It's like, yay. Oh. Oh, I'm a dork, but that's okay. That's why y'all come here to watch, because you want to see what type of dorky stuff Stan's going to do. Yeah, hopefully everybody's having a good day. This is Sunday morning. I find this very relaxing. This is just, I feel better than I did last night. If you watch my last night, my talking knives from the knife dungeon or cutlery dungeon, I do feel better than I did then, man. Something was just messing with my stomach. I think I had some tomato soup, and it wasn't that the soup was bad. Being on this Wegovy, I think I ate too much. And the Wegovy and that GLP-1 stuff, it slows down how fast your digestion goes. And I think I just literally, it tastes so good and I overate. I think I just literally made myself sick to my stomach, kind of like a little kid when he pounds down, something. And I don't think about it because I get hungry for certain things. And my wife and I, Friday is our cheat day for foods that we've been hungry for all week, like if we wanted a candy bar or something, we will go pick one up. We don't go nuts, but we'll go pick one up and we'll have our candy, for the day, for the week. And that takes care of it. And it's a little bit of a reward for being a good boy or good girl all week and not breaking, your diet. Well, the tomato soup, I didn't think about the fact that it's acidic because it's tomato. And then it gets milk because I like to make mine with some milk instead of water because I just like the creaminess better. I think it's just too much for my stomach. And I'm going to stop talking about that because you all probably don't give a rat's patoot, but they'll just let you. Wish I would have noticed that when it first happened, but I didn't. So yeah, and here's another thing I do so I can get down in here better. If you put the blade at half mass, you know, at half stop, then you can get in here better and you can really get those spots. I always recommend, if you don't tape the blade, to put at least one finger here on the hilt, or not hilt, but where the blade, you know, the choil area where it's not sharp, just to kind of keep it from taking a chance of knocking it down on your fingers, because that hurts. Plus it cuts you. But yeah, I think I might have lost my mic, so that's just great. So I probably just did this video